It has finally stopped raining and the sky is blue, the sun is out, and it's so nice to see the sky after days of rain. But welcome back to another video. I am Stephanie. If you are new, I like to make videos reflecting on media, culture, and everyday life. And in this video, I am just going to take y'all along with my day. For my day, there's a hummingbird. It's so crazy how little they are, but you could like hear their buzzing. I'm scared that if I move to turn the camera around, it's gonna run away, but it's so cute. Anyway, I had to take some PTO because for my corporate job, we lose our PTO at the end of the fiscal year. We have some days that roll over, but for the most part, I had a lot of PTO days that I had to use up before the end of June. And so I'm taking a bunch of Fridays off until that. So today I am doing stuff for the podcast. We're going to talk about how I'm going back to analog and using my journals and kind of going away from digital stuff. I'm also going down to get my hair done, and I thought it would be a fun little day to take y'all with me. All right, I gotta go finish prepping for the pod, and my legs are killing me, but welcome back. So 2 of my claw clips out of the 3 that I have broke, and instead of buying more, I don't feel like I need to buy more, so I am trying to find new hairstyles. I really like the have up half down, and I have been doing this like daily and I love it. I have just been putting it half up and then braiding it down, and I think it looks really good with my hair dye, but also this is a good way to put my hair up without having to go out and buy more claw clips. All of my claw clips came from my mom, and I just don't find a need to go out and buy them, create more waste, stuff like that. One day we will be in a studio, but for now this is the podcast setup. We have my laptop with Zoom, and then I have my mic connected to my iPad to record crisp audio, and then I have my notes on my notebook. I know we've been filming this entire time, but I put up a camera and I'm like, no, this is so weird.
So you're filming me through, okay. Hi vlog. I recorded an episode about homes. Are you letting these people into your home in this vlog?
Yes, I am.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, show them these bookshelves are by my girlfriend.
I love them.
They're sick. Yeah, listen to our latest episode on media in the home. It'll be out in a couple of weeks.
Woo! Okay, like Grant just said, we finished wrapping up the pod, and I thought one of the ways that I can show you that I'm going back to analog is how I prepped. So I'm trying to use more notebooks. I'm trying to use less of my digital calendar and use more of my physical calendar. I'm trying to like handwrite my notes and prep, and we have been using Google Drive, but like there's something about having an archive of my own research that I can access without the digital. I don't know, just like an archive of my interests, of my research, of my day, of my life, and just having it physically accessible. And I don't know, there's this idea that like in a few decades, like I don't know why I imagine kids in this, but like if my kids were ever to like go through my stuff, they're not gonna go through my Google Drive and see what I was researching, what I was talking about, what I was thinking. And so I thought that would be nice. But then also like if Google ever goes down, I think about this a lot with like digital media. If it ever goes down, that's like completely lost. And I don't know if this is just me like fully in touch with my academic side. This is a ramble. Anyway, so how I prepped for the podcast, there's a convenience of reading articles and copying and pasting it into a Google Doc. But what I decided to do was I wrote out my main idea, just some notes, and then I have 4 pages of notes, one about the home, and I like wrote out quotes from the Atlantic that I wanted to share with Grant. And then on the other side, I have like more headers, and I use like a blue pen to like highlight main points. And there is like a messier way of engaging with this. There's something about like writing it on the digital that seems cleaner and pristine, and I feel like you can't really see the thought processes. You see more of like the final product, and like yes, depending on how you organize it, you can see the flow. But something about this, I'm like highlighting things, I am scratching things out, I'm like adding notes to it after the fact, and I just think this is a way that I want to engage with my research. I also just like the more I look into like data colonialism, the more I don't want to give corporations this access to what I'm thinking and using my like intellect as data to be sold, and like the whole thing about AI using what you have on their platforms. And I've tried going analog a few times in terms of my planning, and there is this convenience of having everything on my phone that links to my laptop, but that's how they get you, and I'm trying to like inconvenience myself a little bit. I don't know. And there's also so much that you can do with like pen and paper. Like on this page, this isn't for the podcast, but I'm scripting out or outlining a new book idea I have, and there was such a flow that came with it of like writing everything down, filling in the gaps, and like making it really messy that I can't really do. And I feel like with Miro and Whiteboard and all of that, they are, oh, and Freeform, they are trying to like make this happen digitally, but there's something about pen and paper and seeing this and flipping through it that feels a little bit more authentic. And I want to like bring in Benjamin's idea of aura into this. Like replicating this to the digital just seems so inauthentic, and like I am ranting. This is what happens after a podcast recording. I get like really into like thinking about the digital and the way it influences our behavior and practices and stuff. But there is so much about like digital scrapbooking now that I'm seeing on TikTok, and I'm like, no, like I feel like there is something that's good about scrapbooking digitally. It's easier to copy and paste things. You don't have to print things out. A lot of people don't have access to printers, especially color printers, and like it is expensive to print things, but so is having an iPad. And I don't know, there's something immaterial, it is material actually, having a digital scrapbook. But the part of scrapbooking that is lost with digital scrapbooking is the like flipping through magazines, cutting things out, gluing, handwriting, all of that, and like not having that physically, like that belongs to the digital, whereas like a physical scrapbook you have in your hands and you can like flip through it on your own. I don't know. We're ranting at this point. I'm also trying to find a way to turn my Apple Calendar, Google Calendar, all of that into a physical planner. I have a lot of planners that are this size, but like what is lost with something like this is I can't fit this into my purse, or at least the like everyday purse that I have. And when I make appointments, I'm not able to like see a calendar and see like what I'm doing when. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to do that. I went and looked for monthly calendars last night, but it is the end of May, and so there aren't that many calendars available, and most of the newer calendars start in August. And I want to start this now, but I'm also wondering if I should just make my own. I don't know. That is what I'm thinking about right now. I love that I was like, I'm moving back to analog, no more like digital stuff, and then I'm like, oh, here's the book that I'm reading on my iPad. I've read a lot of fun books this summer, but I feel like I've kind of fallen off my like academic and research reading, which is why I picked up Status and Culture. It's by David Marks. It's how our desire for social rank creates taste, identity, art, fashion, and constant change. And a lot of my research focuses on like the culture industry, and I think this is going to be interesting in talking about like signs and what you're signaling and the cultural like meanings behind that. And I have it as a video idea for this channel, but I wanted to do a little bit more research about it, and this has been on my list to read for like my research. So I'm excited to get into this, and I'm excited to read it on my iPad. I did not pay for this on Amazon, wink wink, but I really need to like highlight and annotate and do all that with my academic reading, so that is why I have it digitally, and I can't seem to find this book anywhere in person. And I'm big into buying books in person recently because I am not using Amazon to buy stuff. I was thinking, oh, I'll just print it out. It's 462 pages, so I will continue to have this just on my iPad. What I have also started doing is writing all of the quotes that I get from like my Libby books. So sometimes I borrow books from Libby and read it on my Kindle, but then when I go to return the book, I lose all of my highlights. And also, I don't want Amazon knowing how many times I highlighted something, and just that metric of tracking things. Like, I know the Kindle, this is a side note, the Kindle like shows you what are the most like highlighted and noted lines, but that's a whole other story. That's data colonialism. Anyway, what I've been doing is, this is my journal. This is where I write like my morning pages or my thoughts. And what I have started doing is writing the quotes down from the books in my notebook so I can have this archive of it. And especially for books that I don't own physical copies of, like I love having a physical spot for them. But also I have started writing some of my stories by hand. There's something about it that seems a little bit more approachable than writing it on my laptop. Again, like what I said earlier, there's something about like putting pen to paper and seeing my thought processes, seeing scribbles, seeing like additions that I've made like after I've written something that I really enjoy, whereas with a laptop I am constantly editing what I wrote and stuff like that. And so I have been writing my stories in here as well, and sometimes when I handwrite something that I want to remember from a book, I get inspired and then I go on to write like a paragraph of something for my own story, and that's just another way that I have moved to analog. So I am making a little lunch with some cottage cheese, and I'm sitting here wondering, why was cottage cheese such a like social media phenomenon? Like everybody decided to document their journey with cottage cheese, and I don't know, like why. I just don't understand how a simple food, I guess, I don't know if it's simple or not, but how a food had this like digital, there were so many videos about cottage cheese. So that's just what I'm thinking about. But yeah, I'm gonna eat my snack and then go get my hair done. So another thing that I'm doing to kind of move away from my digital spaces into more analog spaces is how I structure, or like where I put my video ideas. So I was getting ready to leave the house and I had an idea for a vlog where we talk about things that have been normalized in lifestyle vlogs that I argue that shouldn't be normalized. And so I used to have, and I still kind of do have, a reminders that is tied to my Apple Calendar with my like content calendar, and I write out my ideas and tasks to like script and film and all of that. But instead of doing that, I created a spread with my content pillars on one side and a space for YouTube video ideas. So I'm going to add that idea to this list, and I'm going to make it a habit to like put any ideas I have into here instead of like going with the convenient notes app or my reminders or something like that. What did we do today?
We did a new toner, we did a nice trim.
Yep.
We did a nice blowout.
It's so pretty. So we have a tradition where we come to Cheesecake Factory after I get my hair done.
What time is this? Number
like, yes, good, thank you. But we're splitting a pasta and then we're gonna get a cheesecake afterwards. I'm so excited. Remember when it was like blue and sunny this morning?
Yeah.
Hi, my turkey. Are you supposed to be on the table? Like a perfect turkey. Gramson! Oh, hello! You like being outside? Got your little paws dirty? Look at that rainbow. Oh, that's so pretty. One last shot of the clouds. They're so pretty. Oh, the rainbow's still there.